going to do a boat tour. This is part 2, the interior. I'm going to go over everything we've done, everything that's new, everything's been replaced. Do it bit by bit and see how we go. All of the interior panelling here, all around the window frame, the roof parts, the shelving unit there, and the roof parts in here are all new. Originally it was just I think it's 6mm plywood, and I basically replaced it with 6mm plywood. Originally it was like a tiki type finish, but I wanted to modernise the interior, bring it up more up to date to the 21st century. So these panels here, the grey ones there, and also there. This is the original bulkheads. That's actually a sticky back plastic. Originally I went for a cream vinyl, but it didn't do too well in the damp conditions in the boatyard, so I took it down and I've replaced it with this. It's actually made by a company called DC Fix. They do a range of colours. I thought this would be quite a good match, to be honest. I should start in one corner. This little box here, that's the rear of the instrument panel. Rather than having just dangling wires, I thought I'd finish it off with a box. Probably going to put a picture on there at some point. It's also good access for the wiring as well, rather than having to take out the whole panel. The grab rails there are new. I can't remember if it had any already, but I put them there anyways. The stainless steel rails are available from most boat type places. This carpet in here and there is fan lining carpet. It's good stuff. It's fairly cheap to buy, and it goes around corners. I'll show you when we get to the front. But it stretches 4 ways, and it's really easy stuff to fit using contact glue, carpet type spray adhesive. Went for 2 different colours. It's like a mid grey and a pale grey. All of the wood around the outside of the trim around over the whole boat is new. Rather than using teak, it's actually stained pine, which is perfectly adequate for interior use. It doesn't get wet in here at all anyways. It's basically copied what was already there, because I think this boat was actually a home built boat anyways, and I just basically replaced it. Same with the top. All these trim pieces, they're all new, apart from the odd few. The bits around here hits around the companionway. They're all original, just rubbed down and restained. Every nut and bolt on the boat has been replaced. I don't think there's any nuts and bolts on the boat that are actually original. I decided to do a proper job of it and just replace it as the whole lot as I went along. They're not that expensive to buy, not in the grand scheme of things. Right here, this is a chart storage area and knickknacks. That's original. That was part of the boat when I brought it. Just redone. That's new. 3 battery switches. One does the engine, one does the house, and then the middle one can combine them just in case of the battery emergency. The engine battery is a 75 amp hour gel battery, and the house batteries is 2 110 amp hour gel batteries. Which, provides plenty of power so far. Fuse panel. 2 110 amp hour 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 fuse panel. That's completely rebuilt. It originally was here, which is always a bit of an odd place to put a fuse panel as far as I'm concerned, because you're walking in and out with wet feet, you can splash them. So I decided to rebuild it and fix it here. Originally here was like a little cupboard, so I rebuilt this whole area. None of this is original. Original had a couple of little sliding doors like that, but in wood. So I rebuilt this whole panel. It's just like a small secure storage area and a homemade panel. It's a printed design. I had it printed in a vinyl sticky back plastic. That's the solar controller panel. There's the wiring. It's pretty simple. All of the wiring, same with all the screws, they've all been replaced. There's no original wiring in the boat at all. It's all tin copper. That there is the diode array for the navigation lights. Home design. Basically, before I go, that's the main battery connection area points. Positive and negative house battery connection point goes there, and everything else feeds off of there. Yeah, navigation lights. This, rather than doing individual light control, I decided to do it through a diode array, so you can actually select the separately yourself. Basically, you switch the navigation lights on through the main fuse panel, and then select the different types of boating what you're doing. You can either have it at anchor, powering along, or sailing. What it does, it puts the power to the correct lights as based on coal regs without powering the other lights. So basically the power goes through the diodes to the correct lights. Because there's diodes there, it stops it powering other lights. So it's quite easy to work out once you do it, but it's quite difficult to explain. So keep switching lights on and off. Right, next bit, chart table. I don't really use it, to be honest, but this is new again. I built that myself. There was one there, but it was knackered. Actually, push it out of the way and pulled it out. But as I say, I don't really use it. I prefer just to use the main saloon table. All of the woodwork below is more or less as it was. Little storage area. This galley. This is new. It's basically a kitchen worktop that's been skimmed down with a router to 1/2 inch thick, and then weather sealed and put in place. All the new trim around the outside. This is all new. I fitted this as well to create extra storage space. There's nothing there originally. I fitted this. This is all my own stuff. Anti-slip mats, use them all the time on the boat. Cutting board built into the top. It's just to give extra galley space. Lift that up, and then you've got access to the cooker. It's an Origo alcohol cooker. I don't really think you should have gas on a boat, personally. I know a lot of people do, but it is pretty dangerous. I lined it all in aluminium. Some basic storage underneath. It needs a little bit of a clean. Originally here there was a gas cooker, not cooker, an oven, a very old oven. As I go around this, I'll put some pictures up of the original when I originally took over the boat, so you can see how it's changed. But now it's a storage area. All of the cleaning and chemical products go in here. There's a little a bin unit. the stuff for the toilets in there. The original doors on the galley there, I changed the locks there. Originally they had those finger pulls where you stick your finger in a hole and create a latch, but I don't really like them. Finger breakers, I think some people call them. So I fitted these push-pull caravan type ones. This is all original, apart from everything that's in there obviously. The original box that someone made when the boat was made. As I said, this is not a normal Tomahawk 25. This is a home, either a home built or a boatyard built unit. Boatyard built, I suspect, unless the chap who done it is a carpenter, because it's been done very well. This is the cooking area stuff, various other bits and pieces. New sink. And taps. It's electric. Originally had one of them whale pump type ones for everything, and it's been converted to electric. Same with the sink. It's a camping place sink. It needs a bit of a clean, to be honest. I should have had a bit of a clean up before I started this. It drains electrically. Basically, when you fill up the sink, let's switch it on. Switch the galley on. See, electric. Pretty quiet, you can't hear the pump very much. Let's fill it up a little bit. Can you say the sink's filling? Yeah, it drains electrically. It's connected through a whale gulper pump system and through the, there's some air going through there. Yeah, it goes into the pumps are under here, the galley and the waste pumps are underneath there. It's connected to the one in the heads sink as well. Basically, to empty it, you just press that button there, and that runs the pump. Pumps it over side, about 6 inches above the waterline. This is more or less original. Different doors though. I went for like a smoked perspex look. Actually looks like black perspex because the covers are shut, but it's not. It's actually a slightly see-through. Apart from the contents, the actual design is the same. That shelf in there was all part of it. Same as the plate rack on this side. That's what somebody built for the boat originally. It works, so I kept it. Come through on this side. Steps to the engine area. That's all as was, just been redone. I've done the flooring the same as I did the decking in cork. Works very well. It's comfortable to walk around on, stays nice and dry, and it looks alright. There's a bit of a clean at the moment. New compass, new radio, new stereo, new lighting. Other than that, it's the same, I think. Yeah, more or less the same. There's a new panel, but I basically copied what was already there. Speaker system. This part's all the same. Some of the wood's been replaced. All of the trim's been replaced. Use it for storage and books. There's a weather thing there. Tells you there's a sensor on the mast outside. Tells you the temperature outside. It's actually warmer outside today than what it is inside. as it's a bit sunny. Just use it for general storage and games, stuff like that. That's a present that I fitted. Again, more general storage. No pictures in here at the moment. I'm going to have to get some artwork to put in here just to make it a little bit more lively. That's a sensor for the alarm system. It's fully alarmed, talking alarm, and you can also connect to the phone if I wanted to, but I haven't bothered with that. It's just a basic deterrent. Fire safety. Got a fire blanket there. Fire extinguishers in the cupboard. Soap dispenser. Got one of them in here in the galley and also one in the heads department. That's a vent for the outside. It's got solar vents, which you'll see on the outdoor video. Electric vents. Keeps everything nice and dry and okay in here. Lighting. It's a caravan light. It's been modified. You can have two different types of light. You can have a white light, a red light, or you can even combine them. Obviously the red light's good for nighttime use. Got one there on that side. And there's also two in here. One above the locker. One in the heads. Front lighting is the strip light just there. It works quite well. Gives ample light in here at night. Also fitted reading lights here. This one's actually in red for map reading on the chart table, which I haven't actually used as a chart table, funny enough. That's red, that one. You got them ones on that side and this side. From a caravan supply place. A lot of the stuff I use was caravan supply. What else is in here? Sockets. USB sockets. There's two there next to the chart fuse panel, and a 12 volt socket, like a standard car cigarette light type socket. There's one there, one on that side, a pair on that side. I also fitted a pair in the bow. What else? Underneath here, underneath that one, that's one of the house batteries. There's two, 110 amp there, no not 100, 125 amp there, and 125 amp just underneath that side. I also use this for general storage, for spare parts and stuff like that. That one used for tools, and there's a small electric drill in there. In here, on some Tomahawk 25s, this actually extends all the way down into another quarter berth, but on this one it's been designed slightly. We've got a quarter berth on that side, which has got some fishing gear and other storage items at the moment. The saloon turns into a double, and it makes a good size single as well. Also you've got the double at the front, which is ample for what I need. But normally on the fiberglass built units, this is actually another quarter berth that goes away along. But this, I just use it we use it as a storage. It's quite good actually, because it's I use for tools and other handy things. But more importantly, I fitted a large hatch on the outside, so you have access to that locker from the outside for boat hooks and some fenders in there, and other small electrical items and stuff like that. Right, going forward, we've got a locker here. Originally there was a door here, but I decided to keep it open. It's not really necessary to have a door there. It keeps it, makes it a bit bigger looking, and also it is a partial wet locker, so it saves having it damp in there all the time. This shelf here is original. I've added nothing to it really, apart from the trim. I added these trim pieces. There's also a compressor fridge. This boat hasn't got a fridge unit built in, obviously because it's being 25, it's not massive in space of galley wise. So I installed a compressor fridge that works well, an Alpicool C20. Thoroughly recommended. Little storage box type unit there, that was original, just repainted. Everything in here has been repainted. Make it look like a new boat. CO and smoke alarm, just in case. Another vent panel. These are actually speaker grills. I couldn't figure out what to use to make it nice and neat on the inside, so I just had to use some speaker grills which I got off eBay from China, which works really well. Going forward to the vents. I installed vents in the cupboards to stop damp and mustiness, which are quite prevalent on boats really. There's two there at the front there, one on that and one on there. All original here. There's an infill piece that you can put in to make it like a proper double, but we normally just use it like this, to be honest. It's easy enough. These little cupboard units are original, all just been repainted and retrimmed. Works really well, to be honest. Not normally there on a normal Tomahawk. This is done as part of the home build when it was originally built, I assume. Works really well. As you can see, everything in here has been trimmed out to match the rest of the boat. A modern take on what was originally a 1970s boat. You'll see from the pictures that most of it's new. The actual bulkheads, obviously they're the same. I've had to repair some of it. There was holes for various instruments on this here. You'll see in the pictures there was a big old echo sounder just here, and this old clock. Instead of just mounting on the front, they were mounted through holes, so I had to glue in new circles of wood and fill it before I'd done all the finishing. This here, I explained from the top video that I had to rebuild the mast step. This was new. There was oak beams in there, the original oak beams, but I had to take them out, remake them, and then reinstall them. There was originally trim panels there, but as you walk here, and I'm 5'7", and I can just about clear underneath there without touching. But obviously I have guests on the boat that are a lot taller than me, so what I did, I took all the trim panels down, and there's 1 inch thick neoprene under here, so you can see it's all squidgy, and also here with the carpet added. So basically, if you walk through and you whack your head, it doesn't cause any pain. I don't understand why boat manufacturers fit hard stuff there, because you're bound to hit your head there at some point, unless you've got a massive, like 40-foot boat when you've got like 8 feet of headroom or something. I mean, I've waxed my head on that. It does get lower here onto that part there. This is actually a fiberglass underneath there, then the neoprene added over top, and then the carpet. But this does stop you having a whack in your head. It's a nice soft bump if you do. Talking about the carpet, this whole section, all the way around, including all the funny shapes, and up inside here, all the way around. That's one piece. That's the, and also compound curves underneath here as well. That's all one piece, that carpet. This is what I was on about the headlining carpet being really good to work to. It's all insulated underneath there, as I explained with the silver foil neoprene insulation. You can just see it there. If I peel that back, I got a fit of a trim piece. I done it this morning. Found some stuff on eBay, like a rubber trim that goes round. I didn't have enough to do both sides, so I'm going to have to order a new piece for that side. But that's basically what it is. This originally it was partially lined with no insulation underneath, but I decided to take out the lining. It wasn't really necessary. I don't know why they put lining in the front here, to be honest. So I took out the lining and then fitted the insulation, and then fit the carpet over the top, all in one piece. It stretches unbelievably well. You do a bit at a time, glue it, stretch it, glue it, stretch it, and you can get it to go all those funny shapes and curves all the way up, even though it's, you know, it's just one piece. Unbelievable stuff to work with. It's designed to go over wheel arches and that in cars and vans. They use it to trim out camper vans and motorhomes and stuff like that. If you want a nice neat finish, it's highly recommended. It stays up well. You use the decent contact spray adhesive, it stays as well. You won't have that saggy headlining issues. Heads department, mostly all the same, apart from the trim and some changes. Doors the same. It actually locks off from the saloon by putting that bolt across. I fitted the towel rails and the chrome stuff, and as you can see, the toilet roll holder, toothbrush holder, that's all new. Toilet brush from a motorhome place. Soap dispenser. It does open up so you can go back some boards. It's actually a good way of actually, if you have guests on board, it's actually a good way of shutting off the front of the boat, to be honest. Gives a lot of privacy. Toilet. The actual shelf there, that's the original. I went for a chemical toilet though, mainly because it spends a lot of its time out of the water, so you can't flush a normal toilet like that. You can't flush a boat head while out of the water. This you can. Nice and easy to use. You don't get no smells from it as long as you use the right chemicals. There's no smells from the toilet in here at all. You clean it out regularly when you're using it. I originally had a bigger one, but I had to get a smaller one because I couldn't actually, it was actually too high. When I brought it, I didn't account for the fact it sat on the shelf. There's the piping for the sinks. Originally that was not there. Originally there was one there. There was also a couple underneath here for the original toilet, which have been removed and properly filled as part of the refit. So there's only one below waterline hole in this boat now, and that's for the engine. Followed the cork flooring idea all the way through the boat. This part's the same, modified but the same design. Once again, got the smoke perspex doors. You can actually see the fact that it is smoke now because there's some light on there. You can actually see through it. Nice decent size locker in there, to be honest. First aid kit and stuff like that. Pull out the shelf for the sink. That's actually original. Been redone. Obviously new taps because it went electric. The sink is completely different as well. That was I can't remember what I had before. A little tiny square thing. A little that was knackered and rusty. Oh, this is the engine. It's the original Yanmar 1GM10 engine that come with the boat. Completely rebuilt though. I actually took it out while the engine was in the boat yard using the mast and the boom. Not the mast to say, but the boom. It's quite, as long as you put the top in lifts and main sheet, main halyard in the right place, it supports the boom, so you can use the main sheet block and tackle to lift the engine out. It's quite a simple process, to be honest. They are heavy, but not massively heavy. I can just about lift it off the ground once the alternator and starter motor and gearbox is off. But they're good engines. They're obviously used a lot in a lot of boats around the 25-foot mark. As you can see, it's a different colour. Originally, when I brought it's the Pour 15 range of paints that I used on the refurbishment of the engine. Used in the American, mainly in the custom car industry. They use them for painting their custom car engines. Originally, I ordered a Chrysler blue, which is like a baby blue colour, but they sent the wrong tin and sent the Chrysler orange. I couldn't be bothered to send it back, so I decided to use it. It's actually quite a good choice in the end because it looks smart, and also any oil streaks are going to show up really well on this colour. I had the head rebuilt. I had the cylinder head rebuilt at a local engineering place. They put in new valve seats, and because the exhaust one was very pitted and badly worn. I would have put a new head on, but they're including all the ancillaries. They're almost £1,000 for a new head, which is a bit ridiculous for such a small engine. The stainless steel exhaust elbow from America, a big upgrade compared to the very expensive Yanmar ones. The one that I took off wasn't too bad actually. I actually sold it for a good price because they are ridiculously. Same with all Yanmar parts. The parts are really expensive. Other than that, it's not much different. I stripped out the whole engine when I took it out almost. The bottom end was okay. The crankshaft, there's no wear in the crankshaft bearings or the crankshaft bearings or the actual shaft itself at all. I put in new piston rings though as a matter of course as the engine was out. And so far it's been running lovely. It starts well and runs well. No problems whatsoever. That's the Vetus exhaust system. That's original. That come with a boat. Different prop shaft gland though. It originally come with a Shore Seal one, which looked as though it's quite worn out. So I put one of these ones in. It's similar to the Volvo one, but with a bleed valve. They're made by Elise Radish, Italian company. It's all been good so far. Dripless seal. New fuel filter and pipes. All the same as what it was before though. It's just renewed. And I also fitted one of these water strainers in. It originally had like a strainer built into the seacock because it had old original brass type seacocks. I've actually replaced with the plastic ones. I can't remember the name of the company. Is it Tides Marine? Well, they're the better ones anyway. It's not the Marlon ones. This one's the better ones. It's also fitted with the strengthening collar. It's not really necessary here, but I fitted it anyways because they're quite cheap. maintenance free, guaranteed never to rust, because it's made of fiberglass and epoxy mix. It's the only seacock in the boat. There were other seacocks, but I took them out. There was one for the galley and one for the toilets, but because I've gone over for a chemical type toilet, I didn't need them. And also the galley ones now drain above the waterline using the pump system. Refurbished the bottom of the engine area and painted with bilge paint, so it was all nice and clean. You can see this silver stuff. This is it's actually a neoprene heat shield that's used in the custom car industry with an aluminium foil over the top. It's also fireproof. That's throughout the whole engine bay. I also used it. Every part of the boat above the waterline has actually got this stuff stuck to it as an insulation barrier. It helps with keep it cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And it's not that expensive to buy. You buy 12 sheets of it on eBay for about 25 quid. So, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much money considering the rest of the cost of the refurbishment. Original engine bearers just repainted and re-cleaned. And this thing at the bottom is actually a puppy training pad. I keep them at the bottom of the engines. It's to catch any drips or leaks. That's another thing. I also had to rebuild the water pump. That seems to be working all right now. New seals and bearings. The rest of it was okay, but it's no longer dripping. I also fitted a light in here, as you can see, a small light. Makes things a lot easier on a dim days, or when or at night, even if you have an emergency. It's all wired into the interior light system. You can switch it on and off easy enough. Other than that, everything in this here is as it was. Just fired her up. It's the first time she's been started for 2 months. It's all okay. You put the throttle forward. She started on the first set of revolutions, which is alright. It's the first time that she's actually had to start in the cold. That's a view from the front to the rear. Forgot to mention, when I was in here, I forgot to mention the table. I've had a few people comment on the Facebook page asking this. It's an original table, modified. I fitted the fiddles around the outside. It's also got new metalwork. It can be used outside as well. You can actually lift that off and use it in the fitted an equivalent one in onto the thing. Fit the table in there, so it makes a nice saloon table inside. As you can see, it's not normal. What I did, I brought an old map poster on eBay, like a vintage design map. Used contact adhesive to glue that down, and then laid on a thick layer of casting resin, epoxy casting resin over the top. So it's a nice hard surface. Makes a good tabletop. Makes a change from just plain old wooden table. What do you think of that? It's one of the things that gets the most comments on the page, to be honest. Funny enough. Easy enough to make. Don't think there's anything else in the interior that needs to be explained, really. So there's no storage behind the seats there. Some boats, they have like a dividing line here, and you can pull it forward. It's a shame really, because there's actually quite a lot of space behind there they could use for storage. Might be something that I modify in the future to be able to utilise more space. Don't need it at the moment. I found we've had like some long weekends away and stuff like that, and we've got ample storage for what we need. There's a big storage unit here. They've got there's a cupboard underneath there used for bigger storage items. There's food and drink mostly. All the covers in here are original. They come with the boat. They're not originally what would have been on the boat when the boat was made though. They were actually orange, horrible orange, 1970s orange covers. The actual cushions are the original cushions. They've just been recovered with this this blue check material. I added the cushions as accessories. Same with all the sleeping equipment. These ones here, cockpit cushions, we use them on the actual exterior of the cockpit. They're actually got press studs that fit into the matching press studs in the cockpit area. Gives you a more comfortable space outside. Other than that, all this area is used for some spare clothing, some blankets, some nice fleecy blankets to keep you warm at night if you fancy them. Also fitted these little dehumidifier boxes that work quite well, capture damp in the air. I mean, we're in the middle of November at the moment, and it's bone dry in here. There's no dampness at all. Forgot to mention the flooring as well. The flooring is all new. The only original part of the flooring is the beams. There's oak beams underneath that support the plywood floor. It's a marine ply floor that's been treated and painted. And then caulked, following the same theme as the rest of the boat. I fitted all these access panels. Originally there was only a couple. I wanted better access to bilges. The bilge on this boat is very, very shallow because it's a bilge keeled boat, and there's no deep keel for it to go down into. They're exceptionally shallow, even at the front here. Don't actually use it for anything. I suppose you could use it for small storage. I'll work the way back. That one there, that's the transducer for the depth sounder and fish finder, mounted internally. There was originally a hole there for a NASA type, you know, the round type depth sounders, but they've gone for a more modern alternative. So as you can see, the bilges are very shallow, even in the middle of the boat here. It's got some little bit of standing water in there at the moment. Not a lot. That's all we get really. Even when it's pissing, even when we've got heavy rain outside, we don't get any more in there than a few inches of water. You see that how shallow the bilge is. I can put my fingers are actually in the bottom of the boat now. So there. That's how much water's in there. Just about an inch. A little bit extra in there. As you can see, look, put my finger in there. It's very shallow. When you first look at it, you think, oh bloody hell, that's a lot of water, but it's not. It's about half a bucket, if that. It's not salt water though. There's no, it doesn't leak salt water at all. It's actually slight rainwater ingress from the cockpit area, because there's been able to trace no leaks in the saloon at all. Yeah, look, just shows you how shallow the bilge is. There's the bilge pump. We had to go for the a low profile one. It's an electronic switch. There's also that one, that pipe there feeds the manual pump. This is the deepest part of the bilge, and that's all it is. It's partly good because it does give you good headroom when you're walking around in the saloon. I think in the main saloon area it's around about 6 foot headroom, which for a 25-foot boat is very good. It's one of the good parts of the design of this boat. Forgot to mention the main system as well. Mains, you'll see in the part 1 video where the mains goes into the boat from the outside. It feeds an RCD unit just there. There's 2 feeds off of the RCD. One goes to a mains charger, which is next to the batteries in the battery area. It's a half decent charger, or automatic charger. The other feed goes to just a single socket. I don't actually have any mains equipment on the boat at all. There's nothing here on the boat that can plug into mains, but every now and again I do have a guest that like brings on a hairdryer. But we don't have an inverter, so it can only be used when we're in marina. I wasn't particularly worried about fitting a big main system, because I know I was going to spend most of the time at anchor rather than marinas. I'm not a fan of one of these that goes from marinas to marina every day. It doesn't really appeal to me. I prefer to be somewhere quieter. That there's a fire port. If you get an engine fire or electrical fire in the engine area, you basically poke a hole in there, stick the fire extinguisher in and press, and hopefully you should put the fire out without introducing too much oxygen into the area by opening up the cupboards. I forgot to mention the charging system when I've done the batteries. Underneath the solar controller there's a dual VSR, so the house and engine batteries charge together. One way through with the alternator. It's a 35 amp alternator on the 1GM, so when that's running the VSR feeds the engine battery, and it also feeds the house battery for charging. And the mains charger does it the opposite way round. The mains charger is connected to the house batteries, but it also feeds the engine battery if we're plugged into mains. Works quite well. We've never had any problems with it so far. The solar panel controller also can be changed to suit the load as well. At the moment we have it on 80% of the solar energy goes to house batteries and 20% goes to the engine battery, just to keep it topped up. The 1GM, obviously being a basic diesel, doesn't use any power while it's running. The only power the engine uses is to start. There's no power consumption while it's running at all. You can actually disconnect the battery and it will run all day. You can even manual start it if you want to. It's got a crank. So the actual engine battery doesn't get that much use really, because it's a good starter. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is the interior part finished, I believe. I can't think of anything else that's really changed. What do you think? Let us know. It's complicated. It was a long build. I did enjoy it doing it. I wouldn't want to do it again. But it was an enjoyable experience doing it. I always wanted to have a boat like this and rebuild. And I think I got a decent boat out of it at the end. if there's anyone out there local to me and you fancy going out for the day, just give us a message. Always willing to, you know, have a few guests on board just for a day sail.